How could something simply disappear and reappear just as suddenly? Today, we will be exploring the disappearance and reappearance of a tourist attraction in Prescott National Forest, along with some of the reasons why this area of land may not be such a stranger to disappearing acts after all. Was this disappearance and reappearance a simple case of theft resolved by a guilty conscience, or something more sinister and otherworldly? Prescott National Forest is located in Prescott, Arizona. This public land covers about 10,000 acres, but to be exact, 9,799. Many visitors can enjoy scenic trails to hike, go mountain biking, and do other exciting activities. However, there is a mystery surrounding this area of land, one that has had many people asking questions that might require going beyond what is considered common sense. So, what is the big mystery that has attached itself to the Prescott National Forest? It all has to do with a disappearing tourist attraction that was presumed to be stolen. It was then brought back. Is this really the cause for major questions? Maybe the thieves who took the object regretted their decision and immediately brought the item back to the forest to clear their conscience. To understand why this event should be worth discussing, we'll explore it in depth. In October of 2019, visitors of Prescott National Forest reported the beloved tourist attraction known commonly as Wizard Rock missing from the park grounds. This 1-ton boulder is black with attention-grabbing streaks of white quartz running throughout it. Park rangers and visitors of the National Forest were equally confused as well as disappointed. This attraction was a monument of the forest, one that many tourists enjoyed viewing. There was one big question on everyone's mind when it came to Wizard Rock. How had this boulder suddenly vanished from its spot on the land without another trace? Sometime later, a forest employee was patrolling the area of the forest known as the Prescott Basin when they discovered the boulder had mysteriously reappeared. Wizard Rock is a pretty recognizable boulder, so it was certain off the bat that this was not a case of mistaken identity when it came to identifying the rock. Both visitors of the forest and employees rejoiced to have Wizard Rock back on the land. District Ranger Sarah Clausen said in a public statement, "We are thrilled the Wizard Rock has returned and are grateful that whoever took it was conscientious enough to give it back to the public." The exact day Wizard Rock was discovered to be on forest lands once more, October 31st, Halloween. Quite an interesting day for this tourist attraction to make its reappearance once more. After the inexplicable vanishing and reappearing act of the beloved monument, it didn't seem like much more investigation was made to find out who the culprit or culprits of this theft could have been. Many visitors and forest employees alike had chalked it up to a couple of robbers who had a change of heart once they saw how deeply missed the boulder was. However, in the case of logistics, it is crucial to think about a few things concerning this possible theft. For one, it is very important to remember that this is a pretty big boulder. At 1 ton, Wizard Rock has been regarded as a remarkably heavy boulder. 1 ton is about 2,000 pounds. This is not a boulder that could have been simply carried away by a person or pair of people. There would have to be some pretty special equipment used to remove this boulder from its location. And who would remove the boulder simply to return it after a few days? The forest had already had another boulder theft earlier in the month, when a 750-pound boulder was taken off the land. The difference is this boulder was not returned, although it is worth noting that this one was lighter and in a way much less significant than Wizard Rock it seemed. Jason Williams, who was a Trails and Wilderness manager for the forest at the time of the Wizard Rock disappearance, had stated that only someone with heavy equipment would be able to successfully move this boulder. As previously stated, it's a large boulder. In a forest that holds many visitors, however, it is certain that any person operating heavy equipment to remove a tourist attraction would certainly garner some attention and questioning from any of the hikers and other visitors. So this again brings up the question, why take a landmark attraction from a national forest only to return it a week later? Could it be said that this was the work of a few sneaky thieves, or, as some of the lore may have it concerning this event, is there something magical that hangs around this national forest? A magic that can somehow make very large and hefty boulders simply disappear, only for them to reappear once more. There is no known facts about Wizard Rock was discovered. It simply came to be that at some point in the national forest timeline, or rather it was discovered. You can't really miss a rock such as this one. Its unique look of being black with striking white quartz swirling all throughout it is what garnered its name and the attention of many of the forest visitors. The boulder is so attention-grabbing that oftentimes drivers on the highway where it was located next to would actually stop to admire the boulder. It was seen as a great way to get the attention of tourists, and a strong attraction that highlighted the forest's natural beauty. Would the uniqueness of the boulder be enough to make a couple of thieves pick it up? Perhaps parts of the boulder could go for some money online. However, it would take pretty strong equipment to get this boulder out of the forest. After having gone through the hassle of obtaining the boulder, why return it? Especially a boulder that weighs as much as the Wizard Rock. Could it be the work of a couple of money-hungry thieves, or is there something else that lingers in the Prescott National Forest that may have had to do with the boulder's disappearance? Let's explore Prescott National Forest history to get a better understanding of the surroundings in which this mysterious boulder disappearance and reappearance occurred. There must be a reason behind some of these questionable events, right? All national parks and forests often have rich and long backgrounds, of which many visitors may not be aware of. Most of these public lands have histories that are riddled with significant, magical, and hard-to-believe details. Even some details that may border into the more sinister or questionable territory. The city of Prescott itself in Arizona is a point of much lore surrounding desperate hunts for gold. Prescott began as a mining town with a discovery of gold that would change its trajectory in history. The sudden discovery of gold in the area would cause many prospectors to journey from all parts of the country to the town in hopes of striking gold and changing their luck for the better. However, the infamy that was brought to Prescott and surrounding areas would also lead to many instances of robbery and even violent death for unsuspecting prospectors. There are many tales of robberies and murders throughout the history of the town of Prescott, especially when it came to gold prospectors clashing with natives and other jealous robbers who wanted to loot the gold found by prospectors. Some of these violent and mysterious events would of course happen in territories that would later become part of the Prescott National Forest. Not only would there be violence and death to strike the territory of Prescott National Forest, but some other great mystery that would leave prospectors scrambling to find gold that had been buried by murdered prospectors they may have called comrades. Disappearing acts are not so unusual in the history of this national forest and surrounding areas, and we will see that further in this video. Let's take a look at a few stories in the history that prove some things to be buried in the national forest. For example, there's the tale of the Granite Dells. The Granite Dells are located in the Prescott National Forest, and it is enjoyed by many hikers who are looking for a long trail that gets them moving. However, the Granite Dells has not always just been a trail to hike and enjoy. In the 1800s, it is told that a group of prospectors were returning to Prescott with their bags loaded with a fine treasure of golden nuggets and gold dust. While taking a momentary break in the Granite Dells, this group was attacked by natives. With little time to spare, the prospectors buried their gold near the springs as the attack began. Most of these prospectors were unlucky during this gruesome attack. In the end, all but one of the prospectors ended up viciously killed during the attack. After the attack concluded, the lone survivor of the group managed to return to the same site where the attack had been with multiple search parties in hopes of recovering the gold his peers had buried during the attack. The attempts of one lone survivor at recovering the riches he and his friends had initially found would ultimately prove to be useless. There was never a single trace of the gold treasure in the end, and to this day, it is a mystery. This story is often debated by many when it comes to the question of what could have become the gold that was buried. There is the possible theory of whether the natives who attacked the prospectors may have dug up the gold and reburied it somewhere else. Or perhaps the survivor unknowingly had the burial location wrong and was searching for treasure in the incorrect location. Or maybe there was an active disappearance and reappearance of the gold on that land. This wouldn't be the first time for something to disappear and reappear sometime later. Either way, there's still many a hopeful local or visitor to the area that hopes to stumble upon this gold treasure themselves. There's also the famous tale of Lynx Creek. According to the legend, a group of miners struck gold and found about 30 grand worth of golden nuggets. Having packed their findings up and starting to journey back home, the miners were soon attacked by two natives. The unlucky prospectors were left dead, and the pair of natives who had attacked them stole their loot. However, it wasn't long before a group came after the natives on behalf of the murdered miners. The posse ended up exacting revenge by taking the lives of the pair, but when it came to looking for the gold the original prospectors had found, it was extremely difficult. This group spent a long time going back and forth among the land and looking for gold, but it was never found. Currently, Lynx Creek is an area used during the day for recreational gold panning. Since 1863, it's been recorded that there have been about 100,000 ounces of gold taken out of this area. There may still be some gold dust or nuggets buried deep beneath the soil of this national forest. Some modern-day prospectors still visit the Prescott National Forest in terms of finding that one treasure trove of gold. Though no one has struck gold recently, many visitors are not deterred. There is something to be said about these disappearances of gold in history around this area in particular. Missing gold, missing boulder, what else is next? Looking into the earliest inhabitants of the land that became Prescott National Forest can also lead to some fascinating discoveries. Yes, even some findings that may be questionable in the circumstance. For a peaceful forest that is enjoyed by many visitors, Prescott National Forest does still have its fair share of mysteries and questions that have been left completely unanswered. Before it was Prescott National Forest, the land was lived on by many indigenous people throughout the centuries. Looking back to the very, very early days of Arizona, before it became Arizona, of course, and the town of Prescott, before it became Prescott, the land is concluded to have been inhabited by people of the Petan culture and the Hohokam culture. This is around 900 AD, and the Petan people were some of the first recorded humans to live on the land that would later become Prescott National Forest. These people were hunters and gatherers, most well known for their art geoglyphs, which were large human, animal, and geometric shapes etched into the rocks. These mysterious geoglyphs are still around even today, and they are attention-grabbing carvings that can be found in many rock walls throughout the forest. Following certain paths, any visitor can come across these glyphs. What exactly are these carvings trying to explain? Perhaps some lore, parts of the history, or other stories and laws. Perhaps these glyphs are the hall of records for the culture itself. The region is also said to have been the homelands of the Yavapai Apache Nation and the Yavapai Prescott Indian tribe. Many members of this tribe lived in reservations that were of close proximity to what would become the Prescott National Forest. The Hohokam people lived around the time of the Patayan Society. They were said to be the neighbors of the land, and the Hohokam people are even thought to be the first formal settlers of Arizona. The Hohokam were a complex society that seemed to evolve greatly throughout their time on the land. They built what is estimated to be the first complex irrigation system. The people were hunters and farmers and are often regarded as an advanced society. However, what happened to this tribe or group of people is very questionable. It could all be traced to the name that was given to this tribe. Many researchers of this tribe gave them the name Hohokam. The name was given to this group because it means those who have vanished or those who have gone. This name is due to the fact that even though the Hohokam people seem to be flourishing, there is a gap in the timeline of their inhabiting the land that is unexplained. There was no trace of advancement in this group for more than a century. Nothing. No advancement or migration or settling elsewhere. It is like this society of people simply got up and vanished from their land of inhabitation. This is a mystery that has not been solved to this day. Some researchers who have studied this group or tribe of people have come to believe that the sudden disappearance of this group may have been due to an unexpected migration caused by a drought that impacted the society's daily living. However, this has not been completely confirmed by any recorded evidence. It is safe to say that the mystery of the Hohokam people remains unsolved. Will there ever be answers when it comes to the vanishing of this entire society of people? We may never know. When thinking about where this society was last recorded to have been on, aka the land that would encompass the part of Prescott National Forest, there are a lot of questions raised about how it seems vanishing acts are not all that unusual. Disappearing boulder, disappearing gold, and even disappearing societies. It seems the land of Prescott National Forest has a habit of making things disappear, objects and humans alike. And not only are disappearances a regular thing at Prescott National Forest, but it seems that there may also be a few inhabitants residing on the land that aren't exactly human. There have been a local legend that circulates around the area concerning a group of Bigfoots that migrate to the Sierra Mountains in Prescott National Forest during the wintertime. They are thought to usually reside in the Mogollon Rim, which cuts across the Yavapai County, a county located in the Prescott National Forest. The state of Arizona is believed to be a popular state among these creatures. The Bigfoot Research Organization has listed at least 8 sightings of Bigfoot in Yavapai County. An author of an article dedicated to possible creatures residing in the state of Arizona was going on a recreational hike west of Thumb Butte Road in the Prescott National Forest when he noticed a tree break. Many researchers dedicated to studying Bigfoot creatures are certain that tree breaks are a sign of Bigfoot's presence and also used to make territory for the creature. Some reports also published by the Bigfoot Research Organization also include noise or sights of Bigfoot in the same territory. One camper who was located in the Bradshaw Mountains area of the forest recalled hearing strange howls at night he did not recognize. The witness recounts, "I've heard all kinds of coyote calls, and this was not coyotes, I'm certain. Not a bird either. Not an elk, deer, no kind of big cat. There are even Bigfoot sightings in the area going back to the 1980s. One witness who shared their account with the Bigfoot Research Organization recalls seeing what he believed to be Bigfoot in the middle of broad daylight while traveling through a well-known area that is a part of the forest called the Thumb Butte Loop. While driving through this trail, the witness recalls seeing a strange ape-like creature. I stopped the car immediately and observed the creature. The hair on his arms was longer than the rest. It appeared to have little or no neck, and it appeared to be very muscular and covered ground quickly. Though Bigfoot is still somewhat of a legend in many parts of the country, there is one thing for certain. Prescott National Forest is not exempt from having a few sightings of these creatures either. Among the many mysteries that surround Prescott National Forest is another mystery concerning some of the forest inhabitants. Many national forests and parks are theorized to house otherworldly creatures among the trees and brush. Not concerning Bigfoot this time, these next few accounts describe some sort of four-legged creature that has been witnessed near the Prescott National Forest. You can decide whether there is substance to these accounts. It is not a horse, but it stands similar to one. And let's dive into the accounts for yourself so you can make a guess as to whether or not this is an animal of the forest or perhaps something outside our realm of comprehension. In 2011, the witness of this first account was riding their bike along Thumb Butte Road. They state, "Suddenly, 2 to 3 houses in front of me, or 100 feet or less, was a four-legged creature that was as big as a horse. It had 4 long legs like a horse. The witness describes how the creature tensed up as if ready to fight at any given moment. The face was round, brown, beige fur. The fur formed a shaggy beard, almost mountain man-like. It was long at the chin and cheeks. Luckily, the person who details this encounter did not stay long to find out what the intentions of the creature were. Instead, they seemingly abandoned their bike and walked backward, putting as much distance between them and the creature. Then, I found another route to town. Most people on that road aren't home at that hour. It's very quiet. After this close encounter, this witness remained questioning what they'd seen. It was a strange creature, but there was no other recorded encounter with this mysterious being. That is until 2018, when this same witness heard from a friend that a neighbor and his kids had seen the same creature near the Thumb Butte Road as well. His kids saw it, and he did not believe them. They pointed this creature out, and he saw it too. Same description, horse size and the other features. Is there something magical about this strange cryptid that has been spotted around Prescott National Forest? There is no doubt that there may be a few creatures lurking around the forest that many of its visitors may not have seen yet. Are these creatures simply guardians of the forest, inhabitants passing by, or is there something more sinister to them? This we may never know. Prescott National Forest is a forest in the state of Arizona known for its lush wilderness and opportunities for many outdoor recreational activities. Among all the wonders of the forest lies a boulder that is unique and eye-catching known as Wizard Rock. After the mysterious reappearance and disappearance of this boulder that weighs more than 2,000 pounds, it seemed like there wasn't much of a search put forth for the answer. This still left behind the major question of who moved this 1-ton boulder away from the forest and back again, and why? Could it have been magic? Could it have been a Bigfoot? Prescott National Forest seems to have a record of things mysteriously vanishing into thin air, humans and objects alike. Could there be some connection to the disappearances that can all be traced back to people vanishing, even the Hohokam people centuries ago? Or could the boulder have been moved around by some strange creature that inhabits the forest? There have been spaced out accounts of possible Bigfoot creatures that go towards the area of the forest during the winter. These creatures may be marking their territory for all to see, and we have just not noticed yet. Could the disappearing boulder also be chalked up to other mysterious beings seen in the area? Are these strange creatures protecting the lands they inhabit, or are they simply running wild throughout the land? Perhaps having the strength to move these boulders without anyone picking up on their actions. Is it safe to say that there is a lot of mystery surrounding this national forest? There is more to this land than just meets the eye, but you just have to know where to look. Not everything is as it seems, and taking a look into the history of this forest reinforces that same message. We will never know the answers to what happens and resides in Prescott National Forest. Will it ever come to light how Wizard Rock vanished and reappeared a week later during Halloween? How about the disappearing gold that prospectors buried hundreds of years ago as they met with a grisly and violent fate? Perhaps we will know the answers at some point in time. Or perhaps there are some things in Prescott National Forest not meant to be discovered. But more importantly, I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from all of you. Also, if you're a fan of storytelling of the mysterious and supernatural, be sure to go ahead and smack that subscribe button for more content just like this. As always, I love you all, keep an open mind, and I'll catch you guys in the very next episode.